If you're sometimes confused with the units kilowatts and kilowatt hours and aren't always sure which one to use, I hope this short presentation will help clear that up. So often you see the units written on machines, and it could be represented as watts and watt hours, or even megawatts and megawatt hours for something a bit bigger. It's really just the watts and the watt hours that we need to look at, because those are the units. The letters in front are simply multipliers for thousands, millions, billions, or maybe even for little m, milli, or c for centi. So we'll just look at the basic units. To help, let's first look at the analogy of water. Water can be a fixed volume, in which case you'd measure it in liters, or you could be looking at the flow rate of water, which could be measured in liters per second. Now think about how you pay for water. Do you buy it by the fixed volume or by the flow rate at which you consume it? Obviously the water supply company doesn't care whether you tip a bucket of water down the sink in a second or whether you drink it with a straw over a matter of hours. The fact is you consume a bucket, so they charge you by the liter or the cubic meter, some fixed volume. The same is true with electricity. When you buy electricity, you're buying a form of energy measured in joules, and that's how you're going to get charged. The rate at which you use it, joules per second, which we call a watt. So a watt is a derived unit taken from energy and time, joules and seconds, and we usually use watts just for convenience. So if we say how much power did you use, we're strictly using the unit incorrectly, because power is how fast did we use it. But we do say power instead of energy, and that's maybe where some of the confusion comes in. When you buy electricity, you're buying a fixed amount of energy. It doesn't matter how fast you use it. When you buy water, you're buying a fixed volume of water. It doesn't matter how fast you consume it as well. So for example, a 100 watt light bulb uses 100 joules per second. A 2 kilowatt motor is using 2 kilowatts or 2000 joules per second. So why, you may ask, do we buy electricity in kilowatt hours, which is often called a unit instead of joules? Well, they're the same thing. They're both units of energy, but it's really just for convenience. For example, a 1 kilowatt toaster running for 1 hour consumes 1 kilowatt times 1 hour is 1 kilowatt hour of electrical energy. 10 100-watt bulbs running for 5 hours would consume, well, 10 times 100 is 1,000 watts times 5 hours is 5 kilowatt hours of electrical energy. So that would cost you 5 times as much as the previous example. So how many joules are there in 1 kilowatt hour? Well, 1 kilowatt hour is 1,000 watts times 1 hour, which is 1,000 joules per second. That's what a watt is. And an hour is 3,600 seconds. So multiply that all together. You'll see the seconds actually cancel out. One's the denominator, one's on the numerator. And you end up with 3,600,000 joules, or 3.6 million mega joules. And that's possibly why we don't use the units of joules, because we'd be talking about very big numbers all the time. A joule is a very small unit of energy. So 1 kilowatt hour is much more convenient. So it's actually wrong to say a battery has a capacity of 6 kilowatts, because capacity implies how much energy there is inside the battery, not how fast we're actually delivering it. And 6 kilowatts is a rate at which the battery can actually have electricity sucked out of it, a totally different unit. Anyway, I hope that helps with understanding the difference between these units.